Hello everybody, how are you? Hello from both Little Flying Angel and Fanny. This is my buddy. Hey say hi buddy. Say hi buddy. Okay, so this is my new science boot camp mascot for the school. Here, let me adjust. So yeah, the school, I'm excited to be part of this new mission with Idea School. I'm actually studying at the same time because when you want to become a teacher in Florida or in the US, you need to have a certification, a teacher certification, which I don't have. I have a French degree, master's degree. I have experience working all around the world, but I don't have a certification. And then I could teach as a English teacher or French teacher for my degree. But if I want to be a science teacher, because I don't have a degree in science, I also need to take another exam to prove that I have the level in science, of course. So I'm now studying for the middle grade science as well, which is so interesting because you realize what is happening. Everything is magic. Everything is magic. What you have in the microbiome, that's happening at the microscopic scale or at the universal scale is everything that's happening in our everyday life as well. Everything is chemistry, alchemy. This is incredible. So if you love magic or esoteric stuff, actually you realize, it's magic until it's science. And then you read this and you're like, wow, the way you manipulate molecules, you can reproduce also in the at the human level, but then you can become a master of it. What do you want to achieve, and in what order you're going to do? Are you going to reverse the trend or follow a trend or repeat a pattern or break the pattern? Okay, this is when you become not just the scientist but the alchemist, and you become the master of the creation, right? You unleash your divine powers. So this is super fascinating for me. I'm very slow because these are all very specific terms, so I have to read many times in order to really integrate it. But anyway, so excited. Even though I'm really busy, I still wanted to record a video because I promised I was gonna make a video about the economy comparison between France and the United States, the good points and the glows and grows, right, in both countries, in America and in France. So let's start from a student point of view, from a business owner point of view, and maybe from a worker's point of view, I guess. Okay, so I was born in France and I did all my studies in France at the university for free, because university is free in France, and even if you're a foreigner, you can still apply for grants. We have, for example, in Nice, we have a grant called the Crous. I don't even know what it stands for, university something, I don't know, you look it up, Crous, CROUS on Google. So you actually, the state pays you to go study. So this is the most amazing thing, because when I came to America and I discovered how much people start their life in debt with, right? How much debt they have when they start their career, that's crazy. Everything is so expensive in America. It's like $1,000 for me. $1,000 in 2 days is gone. In 2 days it's gone. Bills, food, it's hundreds and hundreds. Everything is $100, $200, $300. That's crazy. So I am so grateful that I got to do my studies in France, all the way till a master's degree. And I took my time, as always. I always take my time, but I did my my graduation, high school graduation. Then I did another high-level literacy class, literature for a year. Then I did my bachelor's degree. After that, I left to England for a year. I worked there as a nanny. I came back. I did my master's degree the first year, and then I found a job in Peru. I mean, I went to Peru, then I found a job for a year, which this experience helped me get selected for the second year of the master's degree, because I wanted a very specific master's that was very selective for international negotiations and in Aix-en-Provence. And actually my experience as a teacher in Peru is what got me selected for this master's degree, because they wanted people who already had some kind of professional experience as well. So everything while you're studying, all the experience, the work experience, the travel experiences, or volunteering, all of this stuff can actually help you, benefit you in the long term. And actually in the US, you guys have volunteering credits in your high school, I think, because at the farm there was always people coming to ask if they could volunteer to have credit for their school, which I think is great, because we don't have this in France. There's not a lot of volunteering going on at all in France. Actually, I had never done any kind of volunteering work until I came to the US. I was like, volunteering? What? Working for free? What is that? Like, so... But I think it's great because it teaches you to be involved in the community. You know, in France, we speak a lot, question everything. It's a great point. We are taught in school to question everything, not just to obey the law of the system, but to question, to identify the problems. But what I like about America is that they don't just criticize, but they're solution oriented, you know. So anyways, this first point as a student is that I would recommend strongly for any high school student or people who already have a bachelor's degree and want to go study in France to do their master's. This is a great opportunity, even as a foreigner, to go to France, because you get grants for studies, you get housing allowances. So my friend Helga, for example, that is from Peru and that I met at the university in France for my master's first year, she was doing that. She came to France. They had no money, maybe a little money saved to start, but they were paid to be there and do all her studies for free. So that's great. Now there's new incentives from the American government that even though it's still expensive, they have this relief program, student relief program, to help you not having so much debt when you start in life. But still, if you have the advantage or having another language of going to study in France, so not everybody can do it. You already need to have a certain level of French. Okay, you need to be at least a level B1 or B2, I think, which is intermediate level. So I got my beautiful Pachamama pendant, which actually the day I took it out and I started wearing it is the day that I got recruited with the job, right? Which being a teacher is what I was doing when I was in Peru. So that all these symbols, all this stuff, it's crazy. You're really manifesting instantly. And like I said, like every single part of the journey, it looks like the puzzle is coming together for what's coming next. You know, politics, I'm still interested in working in politics, and just because I've traveled so much and I know how other countries works and stuff, it's great because you can take the best of everything. Okay, so go study in France. And then the credit cards. Okay, one thing that I'm proud of, even though you hear me complain a lot about my life as an artist, I loved it. I had such big dreams, becoming an artist, opening a gallery, publishing my book, selling a lot of paintings. In the end, I ended up gifting most of my paintings because I was like, well, even if they don't want to buy it, I still want people to have my paintings. So a way or another, I'm going to distribute those paintings. I want, because I believe in the power of the art so much. And then it didn't work out because I didn't have enough sales. I didn't get to publish my second oracle or my book, or all this lack of involvement, financial, because I had a lot of involvement from my community spiritually, but not financially, which, let's be honest, we live in a capitalist society. So if you don't have the money, you can't continue your business. So if you support a business and you want it to see it thrive, you have to invest in it. Otherwise, you're killing the culture. Okay, the lack of action, what is the cost of inaction, is that you're killing a culture. It's not just supporting one person, it's an entire culture. And the small businesses and the people who start with their dreams and want to publish the art and all of that. But anyways, despite all of that, all of my troubles, not finding a job, not selling enough, I nailed it. Like, even being broke, I nailed it. I mean, now I'm relieved because I have a job, but even being broke, I nailed it. I found the credit cards, I found the loans, I traded my cars twice. I sold my paintings when I found people to buy the paintings. What else did I do? I sold my jewelry. I still got to travel. I did a national debt relief program. Okay, so let's start with the credit cards. Okay, because when I got too much in debt with the credit card and I couldn't pay anymore, and I realized, because for me it was just like, oh yeah, but if I get to the end of my collection or to the end of my mastermind, something's gonna happen. Oh, if I get to the end of my book, it's gonna be a new beginning, something's gonna happen. It was always, I need to keep going just a little bit more. And then it's just like gambling, right? When you're gambling and you're like, oh no, but if I win next time, if I win, like when I did my crypto, right? When I put $7,000 in my crypto, I took a cash advance from my credit card to put in the crypto because I found a system that would double my money in a month. And I was like, when I do that, next month, I'm going to pay off all my debt and I can start over. And it was always like the next chance, the next shot, like, oh, when I do that, everything's going to work. Everything's going to work. And I kept going, except that nothing worked. The crypto crashed. My business crashed. So I just kept getting more and more and more and more in debt. Because you're like, you can't give up. Maybe you're that close after everything I did. I'm that close to success. If I give up now, everything I did is gonna be ruined. Everybody was telling me, go back to France, give up everything, go back to France. I'm like, no, but everything I've worked for, if I give up now, it means everything I worked for is for nothing. I can't give up right now. So a little bit more, but just by doing that, I got really, really in trouble and really in debt. So when I figured out I won't be able to pay my credit cards next month, I'm going bankrupt, they're going to take my house next, like what do I do? And finally, I went for this national debt relief program, okay, that just literally saved my life. They rebought all of my credit cards and now I have a very small payment every month. So now that I'm working, I'm going to have a new paycheck. I'm going to be able to pay that a lot faster than what they're offering. So I can get rid of that debt. But for the transition, until I found a job, because when I got divorced, I thought I was going to have a job in 2 months. I was like, oh, in 2 months I get a job. I'm good. And it took a year to find a job. A year. Imagine a year without an income. And you're already in debt. That's crazy. Like the amount of stress, like I can't even believe it. And every month, like selling jewelry, selling my cars, something. But even for that, in the end, I explored. It was great because I explored all the resources of the system. And I realized that America is actually very helpful for debt relief. You know, after the first non-payment from the bank, I was like, that's it. They're going to, take my house or whatever, I'm going to get kicked out. I was already in distress because in France, If I would be a third of the amount of debt that I was in now, I would have already been like blacklisted from the bank, interdit bancaire. We don't have that debt culture at all in France. We don't even have credit card. Every loan, consumption loan that you want to take, it's a whole administrative file you got to fill in, and it's very complicated. So all this to say, the credit cards, good or bad? What do you think? Because in France, we're against credit card. When I got to America, I didn't even want to have a credit card. I was like, no, I don't want to spend the money I don't have, because then I'm going to be in debt. Debt for a French person is very scary, very stressful, because you miss one payment and they cut your cards, you're blacklisted from the banks and everything. But what is the point of having the credit cards? Because if I didn't have my credit card, I would have never even given a chance to my business. I would have never had 5 years diving into my art, something that was so mystical and passionating, and developing my network and studying and my trainings, everything that I did. If I did this website, if I kept going on the masterminds and write a book, it's not just to, yeah, of course, for my network, I wanted to be friends and have partners and all of that, but it was also for me. I'm not going to do something just to please others if I didn't find my own enlightenment through this every single day. So my credit card, they gave me the chance to do that. They gave me a chance to create my business as soon as I decided to. They gave me the chance to take that trip to Egypt, to take my son to Peru, to go see my grandmother in France and participate to some exhibitions in Miami, in France. Like all these amazing things. If I had to wait until my business is profitable, until I have a job, for example, I have a friend in France, she wanted to open a pizza truck, right? And she was like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna get a job so I can work for 5 years and save like $200 a month, 200 euros a month. And in 5 years, when I get $10,000 or whatever, I can start opening my pizza truck for a pizza truck. Like literally, imagine you work for 5 years to save some money for a pizza truck, and by that time you're already onto something else. And she gave up on many things because the loss of momentum. You don't have the money to do it right now, the loss of momentum. So maybe, of course, she's maybe meant for more than a pizza truck or something else, even though we have the best pizza trucks actually in France. But the loss of momentum, not having the access to the money is just a loss of momentum, and it blocks people from creating their businesses. This is why in France we don't have a culture of go-getters. It's find a safe job, plank, hidden sheep, like what I don't know, in the society. And most of the people, they're stressed out because they comply because they have to, but they're soul, they lose their spark, right? Because they don't have these opportunities to launch something innovative and new. So that's the problem in France. So create credit cards, and then it's like everything, it's common sense. Okay, I was aware of the risk I was taking when the crypto, even though I was convinced 100% that I was going to refund in next month because I had the proof, it had worked for me the first month. I was convinced, I was still aware of the risk. When the crypto crashed, I wasn't mad at the world like I was, but at the same time, I took the chance. I was like, okay, well, I was stupid. That was a strategic plan that didn't work. Then the credit cards, I am in favor. These credit cards saved my life, and having the access last month, I started later than I expected. I was so excited to start on the 14th of August. I was gonna have my first paycheck in August, pay my bills and everything. It didn't happen this way. My file was late. I started only working a few days ago, so I'm not gonna be paid till the end of September. That was a whole drama in my head. I got panic attack. How am I gonna pay my bills this month. I'm out of credit card. I'm out of everything. I sold my jewelry. I don't have anything else I can sell right now. What do? Well, I went to take another loan. In 2 hours, I had the money in my bank account. I went online, credit loan, cash advance loan, whatever, $1,500, boom. In 2 hours, it was in my bank account. Okay, bad loan, literally like 200% interest, crazy. I have to refund it as soon as possible but that saved my life. And my cats, I could take my cat to the vet, my dog to the vet. I could buy new food for my dog who was having a rash from eating crab food that people gave me for free. Okay, so it's very important to have access to money and to have these banks being so flexible. And the bank, I never received threats from my bank. It was always, we understand that times are difficult, call us so we can help you. So that changed everything. I went from being super stressed to, okay, the banks, they have my back. The system is working now in favor. And of course, having the president, the government, the White House, the vice president, and all their communication campaign every day reminding you we have your back. They're doing new laws to protect the consumer, to encourage the business owner. So of course, the dialogue, the communication that they have behind it, and you see online, you're like, oh, okay, they're here to reassure you, oh, you're going to be okay, and mean it, So that is a great system compared to France, where we are very known to have the best allocations. They give a universal income in French, which is very low. It's like 460 euros, I think. So if you're a single person, you can't live with that. But we also have a housing allowance. Single moms have more allowance. So it's very minimal, but still you have it. If you're a single mom and you don't have a job and everything, they give you helps automatically. Of course, it's a file online and everything. It takes time, but you still have access to that. Okay, here you have programs like the EBT card, free internet, and all of that. But personally, I was never qualified for any of this because I have a child support. But I don't know. I feel like in France we have more help and it's for everybody, but they police you like crazy. Like my friend, I have a friend who was benefiting this after her studies, and they went to a trip to South America, and then they got caught and they had to pay back everything from the beginning, $20,000, or I don't know why, since she benefited that. Maybe not that much, I don't remember, 9,000, I don't know, but she had to refund everything from the beginning, even though they were not gone the whole time. But just because they got caught being out of the country while they were benefiting that, instead of being looking for a job on the computer, she had to pay this back. So what is the point? So let me tell you something. I know this mentality of being go-getters and the more you grind, the more you're gonna appreciate what you have, but that is not true. What does it do to give a universal income to people? What does it do for people to go travel? What does it do for people to go be an artist or not working for a little while? Okay, the lazy people, they're gonna be lazy all their life. Okay? But even the lazy, what is it going to give them? This time that you have is time where you can educate yourself, train yourself, discover your passion, create a business, look for a job that is really meaningful, not something that you're just going to work at the gas station or something that you're really not interested or passionate about. And then you're going to change job to another one and to another one, and all it creates is instability. It gives people time to find something that is meaningful for them, that suits them, that is great. I could have found a job easily. In 2 days, I can find a job. I refused to go and do a job that's going to eat my soul. Okay, even the school, I never dreamt of being a teacher because it's so much pressure. You have the responsibility of educating so many kids and you need to be excellent. I'm a parent. I don't want to have an okay teacher. I want to have an excellent teacher every single year for my son. And I expect the same level from me. It doesn't mean perfect every day, but someone who at least cares enough that they want to bring values, they want to bring content, knowledge, discipline. So even though it's not like, it's a lot of pressure for me to do that, it's still a mission. It's something that fits me. It took me the time, but I feel like it was a gift from the universe that this came up in my journey, and it's gonna serve me also for later. But if I didn't have the time to do that, or the resources, I would have gotten whatever job and changed to another job and changed to another job and not raise my son in between. Okay, and you're also, without mentioning the time that you're taking raising the next generation. Okay, this has a cost. So if you're giving a universal income, don't go and be policing people. What are they doing with the money? Where are they going? You can find a job even on the other side of the world. You still have access to internet. You can be looking for a job, and if you find it, you come back to France. Okay, just sitting in front of your computer all day, being a good girl and looking for a job, doesn't mean that you're not wasting your time and wasting the money in maybe drugs or other stuff. So we have to stop with the preconception, give people the money, give people the time, the opportunity to rebuild themselves, because in the long run, it's going to create a new society of people who love what they do, they are dynamic. And mostly in France, where we're known for the service to be horrible, okay? When you go to restaurants, literally they're like, oh, these damn vegetarians again. Like, literally, and they mean it, or we're known for that, for complaining a lot, and the administration and people to be really rude. So having people who create their own business and who are happy to work, that's going to change the entire dynamic of the society, mostly in France. But here in America, it's the same thing. All the bills are so high and everything. At least here we have good paychecks. You have a good paycheck that is, in France, the average pay is 1,200, a good pay, 1,500 euros. It's nothing. Like 1,500 euros, you made it in life. 2,000 euros, oh, you got a good job. Like, you do nothing. If you're not living in a couple with someone, you live, it's miserable, and here in America, the salary has to be at least 4,000. 2,000, you do nothing with $2,000. $2,000, I spend it in 3 days. I pay my bills, I go shopping, I take my cat to the vet, that's it. And a video game for my son. Not even taking a trip or anything. So the credit cards, and it's like everything. Like I said, the credit cards, you have to be responsible also. And it's like the drug consuming or alcohol consuming. You can drink. I drink and drive all the time. I have a drink, a glass of wine, and I go drive. I'm not drunk. Or I smoke in the evening before going. I used to, not anymore because of my work, but I would smoke before going to bed. And the day after, it stays in my system, which means that I'm relaxed for a few days and I'm more happy, more creative, more intentional, less stress. I scream less with my son. It doesn't mean I'm going to work, I'm going to be high and not functioning and everything. Okay, but of course it stays in the system for a long time. So they want you to not do it at all, because then it's hard to differentiate the people who abuse it and who do it at work. And you have the responsibility of kids. It's like the military. The military, they're the first one who would need to use cannabis because they're so stressed out. But at the same time, they're carrying guns. So you have the people who would do it responsibly, to use them as medicine, and you have the people who imagine going to work, you're high or drunk and you're carrying guns. That's dangerous. So this is always the problem. You can give more flexibility if people don't abuse the rights and the tolerance and they do their work right. But then I'm sorry, you have the work discipline or ethics, you have the work ethics, so you don't have it. I think no matter what, I know people who would come to work drunk. Okay, they would have drink even in any places, would work and go to work drunk. I'm not saying drinking a glass of wine for lunch. I'm saying, hard liquors and stuff like that. So it's always the same. Okay, drinking one glass of wine or smoking a joint before going to bed, and the day after be good. But then you have the people who drive completely wasted with their kids in the car or abuse it, and then that ruins everything for the others who are promoting conscious freedom, right? So that's why it's so important that we do ethics and morals. And I think in my class, maybe I'm very strict with the discipline. It's why I called my class the science boot camp, because I'm super nice. I tell the kids, I'm super nice. I want to be your friend, but I'm strict on the discipline, on the respect toward each other, and including the teacher. Some of the kids would tell me, oh, I like to watch people suffering, or because the video games and everything, they think it's cool to be aggressive and violent and hurt each other. That's why my son, he's not allowed to watch certain programs. He's not allowed to play certain video games, because I don't want him to think that's cool. When he's older and he's able to make a difference between, or it's like, for example, you're posting a joke on Facebook, like I did with my little alien, like we're testing on humans, you got to be able to make the difference between, hey, it's a joke, and an encouragement to go and put a virus out there to contaminate humanity. You have a difference between humor or bad humor and psychopath. It's like always. So morals and values is so important from the very young age, I believe, and the same with the money. So as a student, as a business owner, and now as a worker, I think I wanted to talk about that, the marijuana, and because the stress is bad. The stress, marijuana, the thing is, like, the stress is the worst for the body. If you're stressed, it weakens your entire immune system, and then you get other kind of disease and sicknesses, problems. So if you're relaxed, if you're more relaxed, you're actually augmenting your immune system. This is how I stay slim, even though I eat a lot. This is how I'm more creative, even though I was really stressed financially. This is how, I don't know, that helps me for a lot of things, really. I don't really feel like I need that much, that I need it anymore. I just don't like to not have a choice, to do it or not. And the go-getters, like I said, so the credit cards, we went over it. The students, we went over it, go study in France, come back to America speaking another language. And the go-getter's attitude, okay? Just because you're grinding doesn't mean that you're going to appreciate what you have more. Give people more freedom to do what they love and what they want, and they will be more happy humans. They will find themselves. And of course, the mentorship has changed my life every day, because then it's easy. There is this category of the population, and I was maybe a part of it. Even if you have great aspirations and visions and everything, if you don't surround yourself with the network, if you think you're by yourself, if you think, oh my God, am I ever find someone at that level? Or am I ever find someone, who can think like me or see what I see? Or, if you think you're the only one, then you can't just uplift everybody all the time. Even the person who uplifts everybody, the director who seems like he has it all, sometimes like you see people and you're like, oh, they have it all, and they make it look so easy. And then you're like, oh, they've got it. And then you realize even the people who uplift the others, they need also the help. Okay, you at some point you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to, we all have to be battery chargers for each other. Okay, so be there for your strong friends. And so the mentorship, that helped me for that, because I was like always the strong, I have it together. And in the end, when I came in America and I did not find this around me, and there was a lot of jealousy or a lot of superficiality, like I said, in French, we're kind of rude and straightforward. That can seem really rude for Americans, but on the other hand, when I got to America, I would get to people's house and they'd be like, "Hi, oh my God, I love your shoes," and I was just like, thanks, like. I was like, that's it, like it's just about my shoes. And I know they were trying to be nice, but for me it made them seem overly kind, superficial. Or I would like talk to someone on the boat, in the ferry, I remember in New Orleans, and I would make friends with this girl who was super nice and everything, and she's like, "Oh yeah, like super friendly, oh let's hang out, yeah, give me your number, let's hang out and everything." And then I call her and I text her and she never answers, and I was like, so it's just superficial, it's overly nice, overly polite, kind, but behind there's nothing. It's, while in France we may seem straightforward and rude, but it's because we're looking what's inside. We're looking, okay, to build the trust and the authenticity, and we have really long, deep conversations and relationship because we're like that. If like, we're not gonna pretend. If we don't like someone, we're gonna be straightforward, and you're gonna know it. But if you really care about a person, and it doesn't mean you're always nice, but for example, sometimes my friends, they're straightforward with me and I don't like it, but we're still friends because they tell you something. Oh, my friend Karine and I, for example, one day we argued, she told me stuff, I didn't like it, and she's like, "But I don't understand why you're staying in America, like you don't have friends, you don't have a lot of friends, your business is crap, like, just give up." And that made me mad. I was like, dude, you guys don't see everything that I've done. I was like, you're not in my life every day, see how much heart I put into my business and my work, and 5 years, and you guys, just the fact that you guys are telling me just give it up and leave, it means you're not appreciating, or you even know how deep my work is, and so it's a lack of you being interested in what I do, and just like underestimating me. They just look at the surface, like, "Oh, you're not making money, therefore you failed." I was like, no, I developed a network, I'm going somewhere. I kept going even though I didn't have the money. Like, I found resources, I was resourceful, I kept being nice and giving to charity even though I was broke. Like, it's all this stuff. And so, I was like, "Why do you get mad?" And then I told her, and I was like, "Oh wow, well, I didn't see it from that side. Yeah, it's right, and so because we were both straightforward and kind of clash and argue, then now, we support each other's business even more." Then she was like, "Oh yeah, well then you're right, keep going." I don't remember what she said at the end, because we were in the adrenaline, but sometimes I feel like in America they want to avoid conflict at any chance. They make it very uncomfortable for people to have the conversation or bring up a topic, but then it's not as profound. It's just like, oh, she's gone, oh well, whatever, okay, all right, cool. That was meaningful to be a part of the thing, like, so yeah, the difference of culture is so important, because you see something that you could judge or find as aggression or persistence or whatever. For example, like people never giving up on you, you know, be like, oh my god, such a stalker, or this is so intrusive, or no, it's actually people who refuse to give up on each other, or the things here who make my hair go raise on my head, like when they're like, oh, just, you know, let these people grind on their own, it's okay. It's like, no, I don't want this. I want a society where it's not okay to let someone struggle. It's not okay to have people in the street. It's not okay to have people in trouble and their friend just saying, oh, it's a lesson you have to learn on your own. You learn lesson even when people help you. Like, okay, maybe next time I will try to do better, but man, I have my friends, they came and they helped me and they never gave up. And even when we're not working together, they were still here checking on me and getting me to best at that and stuff like that. This stuff, I'm not gonna forget. Okay, we're not perfect, but there are these things that are priceless. And maybe that's what some people, they may be jealous about or whatever, but at the end of your life, you will remember those people who were always there and who didn't give up. And in the end, the path will cross or we will not. But that makes the difference. At the end of your life, like, oh yeah, oh, I remember my friends, how they let me down. Oh yeah, I remember how everybody watched me ground and nobody, like I could have been out in the street and nobody came to help me, right? Or at the end of your life, you're like, oh yeah, I remember how even though when I was at the lowest point, they always came back and picked me up. Even though when I was mad at the world, they were always saying something nice to make me feel seen and important. And how we, I'm getting emotional. How we, you know, we created this tribe that was here to save the world and wanted to really make a chance. I remember how, like the president, how when we brought up, you know, for the Tony Robbins elections, they were not like, oh, we're enemies. No, we're, you know, they were like, welcome and let's work together for the continuity and let's see the American people will do the democracy, how we worked on a strategy to have a message, the resonance, you know, for example, for the Second Amendment, how they can't go straight, okay, we're going to remove the Second Amendment because you have half of the population who's going to be like, ah, screaming and everything. So they're starting by just pronouncing the word a little bit, just so it starts resonating. Okay, there is an issue there. We're pointing that direction. Okay, and then it's progressive, and then it's progressive, and you start introducing, and then their messages, the other ones, they're taking the message in resonance and creating something real. And that's crazy. Like, this is priceless. This is the difference between the other political parties that are just criticizing men. The last election, that was the worst. Like, he did that, he's the worst at that, he did that, that's horrible, you know? And I had the same thing in my class the other day with a student, and we had a little altercation, and then someone came and tried to do mediation that was just the opposite of what we should have done. Like, oh, you did that, but you did that. But hold on, give me a second.
Please, I want some.
No, because you already had the Pringles.
We have a.
And we were like, oh, you did that, no, you did that, no, you did that. And in the end, it wasn't productive at all. You know, we're in the same team. We get the teachers, they are in the same camp as the students. Teacher, it's not students versus teachers. So we're all together. So anyways, yes, so I hope that we keep working together, mostly at the international level, when we see Antonio Guterres was saying, the Secretary General of the United Nations, he was saying there is a multipolar world emerging right now with the pole, Russia, China, India, whatever other countries they are working together with, and the NATO and all of that. But even within the NATO, like I see, for me, like the French president, like we're having a hard time. Like There's some stuff, injustice that keeps going. So it was my mom. No, I said no. You're not gonna eat snacks all day.
I'm gonna eat the cucumber first.
And this, no. You already had snacks this morning. Then my friend had to repay money to the government just because she took a trip. My mom, who was condemned 30,000 euros for creating a cultural association that was legit. And just because there is tax benefits, yeah, if you offer tax benefits, then let people have the tax benefits. What, you're gonna condemn people because they're using the tax benefits that you're offering? If they're following your system? What the hell? So anyways, yeah, there is a lot of hypocrisy as well. And so I hope that we really try to find a middle ground and take the best of both worlds, stop policing people, give more flexibility, offer and promote the mentoring that is so important, like I said, to keep people in that mindset of believing it's possible. Most people become lazy not because they're lazy or they want to profit the system or take advantage of the system, just because they give up and they don't believe. Most of people who leave America or who are anti-government, it's because they don't believe it's possible for them. They don't believe that they're actually going to be given the chance and the opportunity. So restoring the trust, of course, between the people and the system. And if you keep being corrupt, then that's not going to help restoring the trust. And let's not forget that students don't work for the teacher. Teacher works for the students. Okay? The people don't work for the government. The government works for the people. Okay? So let's not put it backwards, how things work. Okay? We are employed to serve the world and the community. So we have to be the first one. I'm the teacher, have to go see my student and tell him, okay, every day is a new day to do better and to start over. And the government is not going to keep hitting on his citizen to prove that they're more powerful. Of course you're more powerful. You have the keys of justice. You have the keys of the laws. So use your power for something meaningful and that's actually going to benefit your people and not put them in fear. Like it was for the sickness, where people were not allowed even to go outside, otherwise they would get a ticket. I tried to go buy a toothbrush at the pharmacy. They refused to serve me because I'm not wearing a mask, because they're scared that they're going to lose their job. So let's put things the right way and not forget who has to show the example. So this is why it's important when you're voting to know you're not just voting for a face that looks good or looks nice or pretends to be nice, but for people who actually work together and work for the continuity and the best of everybody, and who are not scared also to speak up and show the problems. I know I'm really good at identifying the problems, and sometimes I might sound like, oh, she's always criticizing. It's not that. It's like all the things that are working great, of course we need to point them out to encourage people. But if it's working great, okay, let's keep working that great. And when we identify the gaps, then this is where we focus to switch it. So then it becomes harmonic and perfect. Offering also, the solutions. So study in France, get a lot of credit cards, be an artist, follow your passions, invest into each other, be a good friend, win the world, be of service, smile, be happy, and ground for each other. All right, everybody, have a great day and a great week and weekend.